For the final time this season, cup check. For the first time in their franchise's history, the Florida Panthers are Stanley Cup champions. The Cinderella story in Edmonton is squashed, down 3-0 in the series. They don't just claw their way back in. They dominate the Panthers, dominate them, forcing Game 7, but it was a tight one. Edmonton just couldn't pull it off. They had so many chances. And as great as the story was, as entertaining as it made the end of this Stanley Cup Final, the end of this season, in a few years, nobody is going to remember that the Florida Panthers almost lost. All anyone is going to remember is that the Florida Panthers won. Don't believe me? How'd you feel heading into Game 6 of the 2012 final between the Kings and Devils? It's part of the story, and it's an important part of the story. But at the end of the day, the Florida Panthers just won. Part of me, a very silly part of me, wondered if there would be a little embarrassment, like, oh man, I can't believe what it took to get here. Did you see that on any of their faces? On a single one of their faces when they won the cup, when the gloves and helmets and confetti and everything went everywhere, when they were hoisting the cup above their heads? No, because they won. No one remembers or cares about who almost won. But oh man, did they almost win. Let's talk about that Game 7 because it was as advertised. First of all, I think the loudest national anthems I've ever heard, both Canadian and American. Shout out Alanis Morissette. The puck drops, the game starts, and as a complete shock to me, we get a penalty less than 2.5 minutes in. 3 penalties were called in this game, just like we talked about on the podcast. It was going to be 2 or 3, but I never would have predicted all 3 would be stick infractions. Thought they'd be like puck over the glass or too many men or something stupid like that. I thought murder was basically going to be legal in this game. And that was true to a level, but it wasn't true 2 minutes and 21 seconds in when Warren Foegele decks Brandon Montour, decks him in the face with what is basically a cross-check to the face. Or, as it was called in this game, 2 minutes for high sticking. Now, the Edmonton Oilers penalty kill, unbelievably efficient in these playoffs, killing off 94% of the power plays that they've faced. They kill this one off too, but the Panthers stay with it, and specifically, Carter Verhaeghe stays with it. He only had 2 points heading into this game in this series. He had a real good playoff, but he was losing his effectiveness. In this game, he had his feet, he had his legs, he was in every battle along the boards and in front of the net in this case. Rodriguez with an opportunity. He's got the puck. He fires it on? No, he fires it wide. On purpose. He's not trying to score here. He's trying to get exactly what he got. Sets up the floater for Verhaeghe, who tips it absolutely beautifully and perfectly, not just past Stuart Skinner, but through his 5-hole. And although it wasn't on the power play, it was even strength. The Florida Panthers go up 1-0 on home ice in Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final, less than 5 minutes in. Oh boy, now what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen is the Edmonton Oilers answer back like that. Dude, Cody Ceci in Game 7 is another beast, another animal. Actually, there's a few Game 7 animals involved in this goal. Cody Ceci has the puck deep in his own end. He laser beams this thing out of the zone. He had 20 assists in the regular season. He had 2 assists in these playoffs. And he's just firing javelins up the ice. Matthias Janmark bobbles it a little bit, but gains the handle, moves on Bobrovsky, and tucks it right under the blocker like the Oilers have done so well since they figured him out. Bang! On the breakaway. Hockey, the janitor way, and the Oilers, less than 7 minutes in, make it a 1-1 game. And with that goal, Matthias Janmark gets his 4th career Game 7 goal, tying him with the other active leader for most Game 7 goals, Corey Perry. There's 2 dudes with 4 goals in a Game 7, and they're both on the Oilers? They're both on the same team? And then you got a guy like Cody Ceci performing like that? This goal was destined to happen, but is the Oilers' win destined? We head into the second period, and now it's the Oilers who get an early opportunity on the power play. Foegele took the penalty in the first period. He draws the penalty on this one. Matthew Tkachuk with the trip? I'll be totally honest. I was surprised this was a penalty. Honestly, I think the reason it was called is because Florida might have gotten an opportunity out of it. But Matthew Tkachuk basically falls, curls into a ball, and takes out Warren Foegele like a bowling pin. The Oilers get a power play. They're big guns out there, and they get opportunities, but it doesn't find the back of the net. Still tied 1-1. And that is how it would stay deeper and deeper and deeper into the second period until a miracle happens. The Edmonton Oilers have the puck in the Florida Panthers zone. There's a flurry in front. There's a shot in front. There's a rebound in front. The puck is loose in front. There are two men, who are right there. One a defender for the Florida Panthers, another an attacker for the Edmonton Oilers. Dmitry Kulikov for the Panthers, Dylan Holloway for the Oilers. The puck is sitting there. The puck is in Kulikov's feet. The puck is behind Kulikov. And had Holloway seen the puck, he probably wouldn't have done what he did, but he didn't. Holloway just leaves Kulikov alone. Leaves him alone. Don't touch him. Don't touch him at all. Kulikov is not the puck. If you put Kulikov into the net, it's not going to count as a goal. The puck is right there, but Holloway cross-checks Kulikov into his own net, and on his way down, Kulikov hits the puck out of harm's way, nearly off the goal line. Verhaeghe then sends the puck up ice. Kulikov is like on his way to the bench at this point. Sam Reinhart, with a little bit of time, with a little bit of space, there's chaos in front. He doesn't need much. Snipes it. Do you understand? Sam Reinhart had a 57-goal regular season with 94 points. Add to that another 9 goals in the Stanley Cup playoffs and the Stanley Cup winner? And you mean to tell me this dude's an unrestricted free agent right now? I tell you what, if he stays in Florida, if he stays a member of the Florida Panthers, it'll be purely out of the kindness of his own heart. Dudes with that resume don't take discounts unless they simply decide to. And with less than 5 minutes to go in the second, that goal from Sam Reinhart, that bullet past Stuart Skinner, is the cup winner. Can the Oilers tie it? Oh, they had their opportunities. They had their opportunities. 2 in particular stand out to me. This one is going to keep both these guys up all night. I don't think Connor McDavid or Zach Hyman are sleeping tonight. Third period, the puck squirts loose in front, and Bobrovsky is helpless. He's helpless. Connor McDavid puts on a move. He's got the puck. The game is on his stick. He can tie this thing right now. Gus Forsling, the waiver wire castaway turned Stanley Cup magician, gets his stick just on the shaft of Connor McDavid's, preventing disaster. Only momentarily, because now the puck is knocked off McDavid's stick. It's still there. It's still loose. And now a man with 16 goals has a chance. Zach Hyman, again, the game-tying goal on his stick. Eetu Luostarinen does the splits. I don't know what kind of snap, crackle, pop happened down there, but Luostarinen with the magical, miraculous save to prevent Connor McDavid and prevent Zach Hyman from tying this thing. I couldn't believe it, and I could believe it even less when I saw the replay. You know what's incredible? You know what's the most incredible thing about Luostarinen doing the splits? It didn't matter. I'm actually reshooting this little section after shooting this entire video because there's something I didn't notice. I thought Luostarinen was the one who saved the puck with his splits. Dude, the puck slides right underneath him. It all would have been for naught, but Sergei Bobrovsky, with the save of the playoffs, just gets his glove on it, and it's a miracle. It's a miracle that he saved that thing. Hyman and McDavid in front. You got the best player on planet Earth and a dude who had 70 combined goals this season, who both had a whack at it, and somehow the puck didn't end up in the net because Forsling got his stick down on McDavid's stick, and Bobrovsky, with the glove of his life, of his career, he'll never have a more consequential save than that. unbelievable. The second missed opportunity, the Oilers struggled so mightily to pull Stuart Skinner. And I think they were really worried about doing it too early. The Panthers are really good at clearing pucks. But, dude, you had an opportunity with about 3.5 minutes to go in the game. The Panthers had just iced the puck. You have your top guys on the ice. What are you doing? Pull them! And after that, it was just the Florida Panthers' mission on earth. Like, even more so than winning the game and more so than winning the Stanley Cup. It's just we can't let the Oilers pull Stuart Skinner for the extra attacker. The Panthers did in this game what they've done so well throughout the Stanley Cup playoffs when they're successful. And this was something that the Edmonton Oilers took away from them in Game 4 and in Game 5 and in Game 6. The Oilers prevented the Panthers from wasting time along the boards, from just ragging the puck along the boards. And, they just ate up the clock and ate it up. And the Oilers are digging and they're battling and just let me get it in front. We might have an opportunity to tie this thing. But the Cinderella story ends there. The Edmonton Oilers just dominate Game 4 after being down 3-0 in the series. It doesn't matter. They're going to lose in Game 5. They win Game 5. Game 6 comes around, and they dominate that too. They are heading back to Sunrise after dragging them back to Alberta. It seemed like a foregone conclusion that the Oilers were going to complete this thing. They were going to finish the story. It was going to be the coronation of Connor McDavid. It seemed destined in the stars. And the Florida Panthers said, lol. They bent. They didn't break. For the first time in their franchise history, the Florida Panthers are now Stanley Cup champions. So many names to be happy for with the Florida Panthers is just ridiculous when they were going through the roster. And I was just like, damn, every guy deserves this so much. Just to name a few, Aaron Ekblad, he is the Florida Panthers, their first overall pick in 2014. I got to interview the guy when he was 15 years old. He's always been destined to be in a role this big. And it would have felt weird if he never won a cup. Here it is. Dude, Paul Maurice! That dude coached the Whalers. He's been at this for a long time. And that shot of him holding the cup above his head, iconic. Roberto Luongo in a management role with the Florida Panthers. He finally gets his cup in the Stanley Cup on Twitter, poking fun at the fact that they finally are meeting. Kyle Okposo, I don't think you understand what Kyle Okposo did in this game. First of all, he should have never come out of the lineup, and it sure seemed obvious in this game. I don't know if there's an injury there. I'm sure we're going to find out all this heinous stuff afterwards. Kyle Okposo had it written into his contract that if the Florida Panthers win the Stanley Cup, he gets a $500,000 bonus. 500,000 smackaroos, American dollars. This dude was playing tonight, not just like a man who wants to win the Stanley Cup, and he did, but like a man who every time he took the ice knew if he won this game, he would get $500,000. Dude, Drake lost over $500,000 on this game, so he didn't have a very good day. Kyle Okposo had one of the best days on planet Earth today. He won the Stanley Cup championship over 1,000 games into his career, years after we all thought his career was over due to age and injuries. And now here he is, a Stanley Cup champion and $500,000 richer. That is a good day. Add to that Oliver Ekman-Larsson, who didn't win an extra $500,000, but he's getting paid by two teams. So who gives a good gosh darn about that $500,000? He won the Stanley Cup. Not bad when you were forever tied to a team that no longer has a team. And it has to be said, love him or hate him. Who am I talking about right now? That could be a lot of guys on the Panthers. Love him or hate him, Sam Bennett is a Stanley Cup champion. You don't got to like his play. You don't got to like the things he does, but you take him on your team. Same goes for Matthew Tkachuk, and probably even more so. And fans of Atlantic Division teams, did you see the look on Brady Tkachuk's face? That dude is going to deadlift 750 pounds the next time he goes to the gym for off-season training. That dude's motivated. I think he's jealous, and I think he wants to hoist that thing too. Yeah, hot take. NHL captain wants to hoist the cup. Really, this should be the coronation of Sasha Barkov. Like, Sergei Bobrovsky gets this sort of toward the end of his career, justifying every dollar the Florida Panthers have spent on him. But Barkov is constantly referred to as the most underrated player in the NHL. We can retire that, right? Like, that's done. People have been calling him that for 5 years. And if someone calls you underrated for 5 years, you're not underrated. That dude is the reigning Selke Trophy winner. What are you talking about underrated? And he just won the Stanley Cup as captain. People didn't always like that second overall pick for Barkov. I'd say it's turned out pretty well. Couple hot topics. Connor McDavid, 42 points in these playoffs. Wins the Conn Smythe trophy. He didn't get a point in game 6. He didn't get a point in game 7. Dude, the only people in the history of the National Hockey League who have more points than him in a single playoff run are Wayne Gretzky and Mario Lemieux. We haven't seen someone hit the 40s. He had 40 plus points in the Stanley Cup playoffs. We haven't seen that in I don't even know how many years. Now, the one other thing is people were ripping on him for not coming out and accepting the Conn Smythe trophy. Do me a favor. Go back and look at J.S. Jaguar in his purple jersey with the Anaheim Ducks with the Conn Smythe trophy in 2003 when he won it in a loss against the New Jersey Devils. He doesn't even take his gloves off, so they just awkwardly plop the Conn Smythe trophy into his catching glove. And that's the saddest man. Do you want a photo of the saddest man? Go and look at that photo. The only reason I wanted J.S. Jaguar to win the Stanley Cup in 2007 with the Anaheim Ducks is I needed to erase the photo of the saddest man. That's the saddest man in human history. No one's ever been sadder than that man. And you might say to yourself, well, at least he came out and got it, like a man. To that I would say, what? It is not anyone's civic duty to receive an award. Like, an award is supposed to be like a, hey, you did it of your accomplishments. But what if you're really pissed off with your accomplishment because you didn't accomplish what you meant to accomplish? I don't blame Connor McDavid for not going back out. He was with his teammates. He was being a good captain. He needed to be with his teammates in that moment, and he didn't want to abandon his post, go out and get the Conn Smythe trophy. And then what's he going to do? Bring it into the room? Hey, boys, look what I got. I haven't seen any photos because I'm shooting this video right now. I would bet that unless McDavid ever wins the Stanley Cup, he will never lay a finger on the Conn Smythe trophy. I don't think he wants anything to do with it. Last note on Connor McDavid. This is a ridiculous tweet from Darren Haynes. 2024 Conn Smythe winner Connor McDavid finished with 575 minutes and 48 seconds in time on ice. It's the most time on ice logged by a forward, not on the Stanley Cup winning team, since Jarome McGinley in 2003-2004, whose 605 minutes and 52 seconds remains the highest time on ice by any forward since the NHL started tracking such data in 97-98. Connor McDavid deserved the Conn Smythe. He probably deserved a lot more, but the Florida Panthers beat him to it. But the Oilers, I think, have made believers of a lot of people. They could be right back at it next year. That's what I said on the stream. Not so fast. The cap situation for both these teams is real tricky. A lot of guys on the Oilers who played in this Game 7 are either unrestricted or restricted free agents. On the RFA front, Dylan Holloway up front is an RFA, and Philip Broberg, who maybe should have been in the lineup the whole playoffs, didn't get in until late. He's an RFA as well. The Oilers want to keep both of them. Here are the Oilers free agents just up front. Connor Brown, who was unbelievable for them. I wonder if they could get him back at a reduced cost. Sam Carrick, who they got at the deadline. Warren Fogle, who had some big moments for them. Sam Gagner. Adam Henrique, who they spent a first-round pick on. Matthias Janmark. You can't say goodbye to that guy the way he performed in this playoff run. And Corey Perry at 39 years old. I wonder if this is it. On the back end, Troy Stetcher, who wasn't as much of a factor for them and he was injured, but Vinny Desharnais is probably in line for a raise as well. And in net, you still have Stuart Skinner to a very reasonable number. You have the Jack Campbell situation, and dude, Calvin Pickard is a free agent. The Panthers, also a really tough situation, but they don't care because they just won. Up front, Anton Lundell is a restricted free agent. He is going to get paid. And Josh Mahura is their only defender who's an RFA. In net, Anthony Stolars is a UFA. You got to think he's going to walk. You have Bobrovsky making 10, and I forgot Spencer Knight's making $4.5 million, so that's their tandem next year, unless there's a trade. Like, maybe there's a trade. Up front, Nick Cousins, Ryan Lomberg, Steven Lorentz, Kyle Okposo, Sam Reinhart. Oh, there's one that hurts. Kevin Stenlund and Vladimir Tarasenko, who, by the way, they paid a 3rd and a 4th round pick for from Ottawa, and if they're both Florida picks, they will be the 32nd pick in those rounds. Oof. Add to that Oliver Ekman-Larsson, Dmitry Kulikov, and Brandon Montour. There's some open spots on the Florida Panthers. Now, with the Florida factor, maybe they get some discounts there. Maybe they have an easier time keeping the team together. The Oilers, I don't know if they're going to get so lucky. Can McDavid score 42 points again? I mean, probably, but maybe not. Can Zach Hyman get 16 goals in a playoff run again, a single playoff run again? Maybe. Oh, I don't know. That was Stuart Skinner's first loss in a game 4 or onward. Is he going to be able to pull off that again? Ooh, I don't know. A lot of things went right for the Oilers on this run. A lot of things. It's going to be really, really difficult to replicate. But at the end of the day, you have Connor McDavid, who's the best player in the world by a long shot, so you never know. But with that, the Florida Panthers, for the first time ever, are Stanley Cup champions. Well earned. There's no Stanley Cup for almost. That's it for this last edition of Cup Check. I got to give a sincere thank you to everyone who helped with everything, everyone at SDPN, all of you for watching. I got to especially give a shout out to producer Drew, who was riding shotgun with me during all the streams, edited all the LFRs this season, edited all the cup checks this season, staying up to God knows what hour of the night and in the morning. All the breaking news video. The Leafs signed an assistant coach yesterday, and we did a video on that. Drew is an absolute animal. There's a lot of people at that company who are just absolute animals, but Drew, with respect to these videos, has helped me the most. So you don't have to like his tweets, Leaf fans, but you better thank producer Drew. For now, that is it for this final edition of Cup Check for 2024. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you liked this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends that we got a brand new Steve Dangle podcast tomorrow, and the Florida Panthers are Stanley Cup champions.